Let's start with the security situation. Comparing, for example, to May, when we spoke last time, what do you think has changed in this sense, and if anything at all?
It's a very difficult question because a lot of has changed. Because, for example, I would say that Europe is stronger than it was half a year ago. Everything like rehearsed together or thought through together, because in December next week we will have a decisive moment of Russian frozen assets, and I would say that in the spring probably we didn't have this kind of exact feeling that it will be used for Ukraine's benefit for the reparation loan. So I would say that that much has changed. Second thing, probably there are already sanctions which are working, because if you look at Russia's state of play right now, they have this kind of economic troubles already ahead, because the oil prices have gone down, sanctions, 19 package in Europe, and also American sanctions. These are already influencing Russia. So that's also probably behind that. Russia is waving with hands and doing this kind of tactics, which is called cognitive warfare, like making themselves bigger in words and paper. So I would say a lot of has changed, but we'll see. A couple of very decisive weeks are still ahead of this year.
About the threats, for example, not comparing to May, but for example to the end of last year, then we were talking a lot about damages regarding sea infrastructure. Then the Baltic Sentry was launched. The sea infrastructure damages has more or less been cancelled as a problem. Right now it's balloons. In Lithuania as well, we have had some, but obviously much larger problem in Lithuania, because Vilnius is very close to the border. Do you think anything like that could happen in Estonia as well? Not maybe balloons from Russia exactly, but something regarding this, more or less similar like that?
I would say that a lot of this kind of hybrid operations or this kind of hybrid threats have already happened also in Estonia, because for example, as we were talking about subsea infrastructure, which right now is guarded by NATO's enhanced vigilance activity, as it's called, that has helped a lot, because going back this year, we desynchronized ourselves from Russian energy grid and synchronized ourselves with Central Europe energy grid. For example, different kind of cyber threats are still ongoing as we speak, because if I look at the numbers of cyber attacks coming from Russian side to Estonia, to Europe, these have not decreased, they have increased, and also capabilities of Russia have not decreased in that field. Also, for example, we have had in this year, not long ago, Russian MiGs in our airspace, which were diverted by NATO's Italian F-35s, the most modern airplanes they are, but NATO's chain of command works well, and they were diverted from our airspace. And after that, Article 4 was invoked, and United Nations Security Council. So we see different stepping on the border activities everywhere, because the main message, this kind of operations, balloons from Belarus, which are also hybrid attack against Lithuania and so on, the message from them is the same always, that be concerned with yourselves, do not think and do not be involved in helping Ukraine against Russia. So this is the idea how Russia and Belarus are doing it. So if you would ask that will it continue, I would say yes, probably, because Putin has not changed his goals. That is the message. This kind of mimicking peace negotiations, we can see all the time that the war would stop at the moment when Putin would say that his troops would not kill women, children, innocent people in Ukraine. but he hasn't stopped. So I would say, yeah, we will see a lot of this kind of operations different in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, all over the planet.
Mm-hmm. And do you think new types of these hybrid threats will occur? For example, we weren't speaking about the balloons last year. Yeah. Will it be something else next year, for example?
Might be, because to be honest, until Russia is forced to change, they still are acute threat to European NATO countries. And they have their own goals. For Putin, probably breaking up the Soviet Union was a historic mistake, as he has said, and also personal insult to him. So probably we'll see a lot of this kind of harassment all over the planet. But something has also changed in Europe, because Europe has always been a project for peace. That's the main idea of Europe. And it was a project of peace, but without a significant armament. But right now it's becoming a project of peace with arms, with capabilities to manufacture, defense industry and so on. So I would say that in 3-5 years, Europe will be much stronger and much more capable of standing up against Russia. So that is a change. So if you're asking that, yes, in the future we can see different threats, but we are more capable of tackling them also.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, about security, about cooperation. We could obviously speak a lot what Russia is doing. We could speak a lot even what the United States is doing, or other European countries. But do you think us three, comparatively really small nations, do we cooperate enough in the security sense? Because right now, I think at least speaking, okay, we're NATO, but sometimes this Baltic dimension, couldn't say that it is like forgotten, but I don't know whether we are speaking as a Baltics, not three separate entities like states.
Behind different tables, I would say Baltics are like one team of musketeers. So I would say that Baltics and also Nordics, we have this kind of group called NB8. I would argue that this is among most active groups of backing up Ukraine, because when you combine Baltics and Nordics, it's 10th economy in the world and second in backing of Ukraine. We are usually the fastest responders, and we are very well coordinating with each other, different threats, and also with Polish, with German, with France, with UK. This is like our corner of the world. So I would say that Baltics are working absolutely well together. And today we had the Minister of Prime Ministers, meeting of Prime Ministers, and half of the time was used to assess different kind of threats and assess the methods how to work together better.
Switching to energy, the topic of nuclear plant in Estonia is obviously very interesting for us, because it has been mentioned that Latvia could cooperate in some way, for example, our Latvenergo or somebody else. How far do you say Estonia is in this sense, and has there been any progress, for example, to 2 years ago when the first, I think the first, it was signed basically that we will explore this option?
There have been some steps because we have had a public report about having a nuclear energy possibility in Estonia. It's public. Everybody who has interest in that can go to internet and look it up. It's quite easy. The second thing is that from the government side we decided to start special planning. This is a process to determine which could be suitable location for a nuclear station. So this is only the first step. After that there will be many steps, nuclear law, possibility of like offices who deal with nuclear plants and so on, many steps more to come. But we are at the first stage. I would assess that it's probably we are at first level of 10 years to 15 years because in Estonia we are talking and like assessing a possibility of small or medium reactor generation 3 plus. So the first ones are still built in Canada, so we are looking into it, but this is still being built, so we will see how it goes, and after that we can assess. But Estonia is already using it, probably Latvia is using nuclear energy, because when Shadow Fleet does not cut our power cables between Estonia and Finland, we are using also Finnish nuclear energy. So in our energy, all in all portfolio, there's already nuclear energy, but we don't have nuclear plants, but we are planning.
Do you see need for this plant?
It pretty much depends on the characteristics and how our economy performs, because not only to Estonia, but for a regional market, it can be business viable. It has a possibility because the production is constant, stable, and it has a business case, but it also depends on the prices per megawatt, per kilowatt of the output when we'll see how it goes in the Canada. So energy pretty much is just a calculation about the market and price.
But realistically, when could the decision be made? For example, the assessment in Canada, how much time do you think you need?
With the planning first stage, probably it will take a year. I would say after that, the next stages, but to put it very like in a nutshell, we will have about 5 stages in which we have to decide if the answer is yes, we will go forward. So it probably will take 10 to 15 years in my assessment. Probably it can be done faster, but not too much, because this kind of operation usually requires very thorough planning.
Mm-hmm. Also wanted to ask about the second pillar of pensions. Very interesting question, because right now we see what's happening in Lithuania, and they will have the change from the January 1st, similar to Estonia. So looking back, it's already 2 or 3 years. Do you think it was the right choice? And what would you say to us Latvians? Because right now there is some discussions in Latvia as well, whether we should do it.
In Estonia there's a saying that the wise person learns from others' mistakes, and the one who is not wise does not learn even from his own or her own mistakes. The pension reform in Estonia that was called, this probably was a very big mistake, to be honest. This is my personal opinion, but to give you an overview, already about 1/5 to 1/3 of people gathering money for the future pensions have left the system. Younger people looked at the central bank survey done after this kind of pension reform, second pillar reform, used the money mainly for paying back different kind of loans, or the first one was to consume. Only, I would say, few % of people invested it. So I'm investing my money in second pension pillar, in the third, and the idea is quite clear that even though you don't invest much per month or per year, it will sum up and you will have a little more when you go to the pension, because if you look at the labor market, you will have more pensioners. Everybody would like to have a good pension. So if you want my honest assessment, I would say that this is the biggest crime against the future to do. But everybody, as I pointed out, is free to learn from our mistakes or to do their own.
Lastly, I wanted to talk about the transport sector. Just a quick question about Air Baltic. Whether anything has changed about Estonia's investment in this, because I know that at least in transport minister's level, there has been some discussions, us asking you whether you want to invest in the company, because the last finance reports and also reports from other independent companies has said that basically the company needs money, Air Baltic needs money. Mm-hmm. So has there been any new talks in this regard?
There hasn't been any new talks, not today and not in last months. But we are keeping this kind of policy because we are investing heavily in Tallinn Airport, and Air Baltic is probably the biggest one there. And also with these investments, we are trying to be in competition of keeping the fees as low as possible. That probably will make the doing business for Air Baltic also much more easier, and they will save money on that. So that probably also helping everybody who is flying from Tallinn and also the companies flying from there. But I don't know if there have been any new proposals or new details, not in today's meeting.
Mm-hmm. And if a company ceases to exist, what would that mean for Tallinn's airport? Because for us, it's basically half of all passengers traveling. I think it's more or less the same in Estonia.
I don't know if the figure is exact, but I would say Air Baltic in Tallinn is about 1/4 or 1/3 or something like that. They are probably the biggest flyers. And to be honest, I personally use Air Baltic all the time. I fly a lot, and I like the company because it's well run and planes are new and well kept. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Air Baltic will perform well and will do better.